That's incredible on so many levels, Dallas. And I know people listening, I mean, it's like chills listening to that. Really, your faithfulness and obedience to God in responding to an inspiration to create something really beautiful. And I want to get back to the origin story, but first, just for folks who may not have seen it yet, it is incredibly well done. I mean, I think about it was a Christmas Story from the 50s or 60s. The little kid, you'll shoot your eye out, getting the gun for Christmas. Super classic Christmas film. This is that caliber or better. The acting, the casting, the directing, everything about it was so beautifully done. The script's amazing. So you created a classic. And I think that's what the critics are saying. That's what the response is. So highly recommend everyone to go out and see it. I am curious in the casting process because these kids are phenomenal actors. I mean, they really carry the movie. They're adorable. They're so funny. What was it like finding all those amazing kids to be in this film and working with them to get them to do such a phenomenal job?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy because you see hundreds of hours of auditions from kids all over the country, because when you're looking for kid actors, you don't want to limit your search, because obviously most kid actors are not experienced. So by definition, every time that you're casting, you're going to find newcomers. And we were just looking for people who could inhabit both the humor and the craziness of the story, but also the emotional journey and ultimately the spiritual climax of it. And that's a hard line to walk. It's a hard line to walk as a filmmaker. It's also a hard line to walk as an actor. And so our adult actors, we got Judy Greer, who's extraordinary. Everyone, if you don't know her name, you know her face. She's amazing. Everyone loves her. Pete Holmes is a classic stand-up comic and a great comedian. And then Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls and Parenthood, who's amazing as the narrator and also has a scene. We just got so fortunate. But the kids, if you don't get those kids right, everything else kind of falls to the wayside in a story like this. And they are just so great. And once we finally chose them, and then you got to direct them, and you got, a range of kids, and sometimes there's 10, 15, even 20 kids in a scene, and it's a ADHD fest. And so you're trying to be both a director and a parent and a teacher and a leader. So it was challenging, but it was worth it. They are truly beautiful in the film.
What was the hardest scene to film and why?
Well, the climax of the movie, where we actually put on the Christmas pageant for the first time, is also the climax of the book. And it's what made me laugh and cry so hard. And so the pressure of getting that right is very difficult when you don't have the same tools an author of a book has, where you can't get inside people's thoughts. You have to use all these other tools to communicate. So that wasn't easy. And then we took 5 full days just to film that one sequence. And we had, 150, 200 extras at any one time. I'm managing all these kids, all these different angles. That you also have to get emotional and all these different takes and all these different angles and the humor of it. It was just so challenging, but it was because I just really felt a responsibility to give to audiences of this movie the same experience, the spiritual kind of transcendent moment that I had reading the book. And remembering the Christmas story and seeing the Christmas story through the eyes of those in poverty. And when that little girl performs as Mary in the pageant, I don't want to give too much away, but those were real tears. I mean, those just when you get to the moment of filming it and you're reliant on other people to execute it with your leadership, it's scary. But I was blown away by their performances and by the music and how everything came together.
The girl who played Mary in the movie, her name in the movie is Imogen?
Yeah, Imogene, and she plays, she hijacks the role of Mary in the Christmas pageant. Yeah, she's extraordinary.
She was phenomenal. I mean, they were all phenomenal. How old is she in real life?
She's 12. I think she might be 13 by now. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But she's too young to be that good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I mean, the expression, the range, she was amazing.
Yeah.
What was so you had this seed 5 years ago, this sense of calling about creating this movie 5 years ago. Was this concurrent with starting The Chosen? How does the timeline sync up with the work on The Chosen?
Well, my desire to do this movie was long before The Chosen even existed, of course, before I'd even thought of it. It was when I started making The Chosen. I think the first 2 seasons were out when the rights holders saw it and said, okay, we do believe this would be in good hands, in Dallas's hands. And by that point, Lionsgate, this distributor, was also interested in the book and interested in me as a filmmaker. And so I filmed this in between the filming of seasons 4 and 5. And this is the only project that I would have, or my wife would have allowed me to do, because we, of course, I don't ever want The Chosen and filmmaking to take away from my job as a husband and father. And filming is always a very challenging process. But this was the one project that we did this for, and we did our best to still maintain our family time and dynamic. But yeah, I had kind of, the Best Christmas Pageant Ever was still my dream project while I was making The Chosen, but I still had that weekly reminder to pray for it. But I didn't know that it would come in the middle of The Chosen, but God's timing is perfect.
God's timing really is perfect. I think that your story is such a testimony to that, because the Lord knew that The Chosen was going to come first, and that would prepare you, at least in the eyes of the studio or the people that had the rights to the book, to give you the best Christmas pageant ever, to entrust it to you. So the greatest Christmas pageant ever. That was
the best. Yeah, the best Christmas pageant ever.
The best and the greatest, but it's the best.
Yeah. Hopefully it's the greatest movie ever, but the best Christmas pageant ever. Yeah, I mean, I think I had to be broken down and surrendered before I could get The Chosen, and I think that happened 7 years ago when I had a big career failure. Didn't know if I would ever make another movie or TV show. And I truly surrendered and thought, okay, I'm willing to give that up if that's what you want, which was very hard for me. And I think that's when God said, well, now you're ready for The Chosen. And then after the first couple seasons of The Chosen, I think God's like, all right, now you're ready for the best Christmas pageant ever. And with the success that's come from that movie and its opening weekend and the response that it's had has been really, really humbling. But I think only came because I was humbled and broken and surrendered. And I think every revival in anyone's life is preceded by brokenness. And I had that's what happened to me. And I think it made me better equipped to bring these stories to the world.